Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Alina and in this video we are going to create this amazing bracelet. It's very elegant and very sophisticated. Now before we started, I want to thank Stephanie from Bros Pony Beaded Jewelry. She was my inspiration for this design and I will put in description the link from her channel. So let's get started. So for this project you will need a beading needle. I'm using a size 10 beading needle. Fire line 6LB, I'm using crystal color. 2 colors of 11/0 Toho seed beads, 15/0 seed beads, 4mm crystals and 4mm pearls. I'm using Czech, from Czech Republic, Preciosa. Of course you can use only crystals if you want for this project, or only pearls, but I decided to use both. You also can use any 4mm beads you have on hand in your house. So let's get started. So you start by threading around 80 centimeter of thread, or 30 inches. Then you will use a stopping bead. It should be different color than the materials you use for the project. And we are going to leave a tail so we can sew our clasp in the end. The tail should be around 10-12 inches or 30 centimeters, like this. So I'm going to sew my stopping bead, just like this. And now we're going to use the 11/0 Toho seed beads. We will start by adding 1 crossover bead and 2 netting beads. So this is what we're going to have, and we need to pick up this sequence 7 times. So this is 1 crossover bead, 2 netting. This is the second time, 1 crossover bead, 2 netting beads. Third, 1 crossover, 2 netting. Fourth, 5, 6 and 7. Let's count them again just to make sure. So I flip the thread with the stop bead up. Let's count them now. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 7 sequence of 3 beads. Now we're going to count 2 crossover beads, and without picking anything on the needle, we're going to go to the third one. Let me zoom in so you can see better. I hope it's clear enough. So I'm going to skip this sequence and this one, and I'm going to go to the third crossover bead without putting anything on my needle. This will create a loop just like this. Now we're going to pick up 2 netting beads, a crossover bead and 2 netting beads. This is the sequence. You'll have like 5 beads, and we're going to skip this one and put the needle in the next crossover bead. I'm trying to make it so you guys can see. Okay, just like this. This will give me the second loop. Repeat the process. Pick up 2 netting beads, a crossover bead and 2 netting beads, just like this. Skip this. Let me take the thread away. Skip this one and go through the last crossover bead. So now I have like 3 loops, 1 2 3. In these loops we're going to embellish with the pearls and the crystals. So I found that it's easier if we just flip it. We work again from down to up. So again, let me zoom out now a little bit. So now we're going to pick up again 2 netting, a crossover, 2 netting beads, again skip this one, and you're going to go through this crossover bead from the loop, just like that. This is going to give me another loop. It's a bit not showing so good now, but don't worry, it will be perfect. The more you work, the netting will stabilize. So pick up 2 netting beads, a crossover bead, 2 netting beads, skip this one and go through the crossover bead from the loop. Again, 2 netting, a crossover and 2 netting beads, skip this one and go through the last one. So actually that's all you have to do for the netting. Let's do it one more time. I flip it. I will zoom out now. Okay, this is what we have until now. So pick up 2 crossover beads, pick up 2 netting beads, a crossover, 2 netting beads, skip this one and go through the crossover from the loop, just like that. Two netting beads, 1 crossover, 2 netting beads, skip this one that's more inside and go through the one that pops out from the loop, the crossover bead, two netting, a crossover, 2 netting, skip this one and go through the next one, the last one. Flip it. Okay, let's do it one more time. Pick up 2 netting beads, crossover and 2 netting, skip the first one and go through this one that pops out, don't worry if your thread is like this, just pull it inside and it will be okay. 2 netting, a crossover, 2 netting, skip this one and go through this, two netting, a crossover and 2 netting, skip this and go through the next one. And there you have it. As you can see, it's already starting to look much better and it really look like a netting. So in these loops we're going to put our crystals, pearls, whatever 4mm beads you have. So work until you have the length you desire. So I will meet you right back in a minute. Welcome back. I finished knitting my bracelet. As you can see, it's very nice and beautiful, and it has the perfect shape now. You can try measuring to see how long you want to make it. For my wrist, for example, it looks like this. I will leave this 1 inch or 2.5 centimeter to add the clasp, depending on your clasp size. We will be using this one today. It's a double strand clasp, and it will come right here. At this point you can embellish the bracelet and add the clasp later, but I will try to add it now so you can see better what are the steps. So let's get started. So what you want to do now is to exit this seed bead. So in order to do that, you have to follow the thread line. So here, and this until you exit here. So let's get started. Let me pull more closer. So I will go through these two knitting beads, just like this. Crossover bead, two knitting bead, crossover bead, and another knitting bead, just like this. Now you're going to go through the first loop of your clasp, like this. You are exiting this knitting bead. You are going to the next one without putting anything on the needle, and the crossover bead, and the next knitting bead, just like this. So 3 seed beads. Pull tight. You'll end up with something like this. Now you'll go again through the loop of the clasp. So you are exiting this seed bead. You are going through the next one, the crossover bead, and the next 3 seed beads. You just follow the thread line. Pull, make sure the thread is not tangled, so you end up with something like this. Now we want to reinforce, so in order to do that, we will follow the seed beads like this. You see, like this, this shape. You come out here, go through the needle here, again put it in this seed bead, 3 more, again in the loop, and do this like 2-3 times. So I will go through these 3 seed beads here, and then all the way through here. So let me flip it so you can see better. We are here. You see, like this. Go through the clasp, just like that. So you just pass through this loophole. You have to come through this seed bead. So I think it's easier if you flip it. Go through the next 3 seed beads, 1, 2, 3, just like this. Through the loop of the clasp and through this seed bead. Flip it back through this one. That's it. And you want to exit this crossover bead so we can start our embellishments. 1 second. There you go. So this is how it looks. So now for the embellishment, we will need 4mm bicons, some 15 seed beads, and 4mm pearls. Okay, I think it's better if I turn around this mat, bead mat. It's easier to see. Let's turn it like this. Okay, so now we will start the embellishment. You will always use 2 pearls on the same line and 1 crystal in the middle. So we will start by adding a 15-0, a 4mm pearl, and the 15-0. You are exiting through this seed bead, these 2 seed beads of the net, and you will go through the next crossover bead, just like this. Don't pull too tight. Now we will pick up a 15-0, a 4mm, and a 15-0. You're exiting this crossover bead, you'll go through the next one right in front of it. Be careful with the thread not to be tangled. Now a pearl again, a 15-0, a 4mm pearl, and a 15-0. You are exiting this crossover bead, you'll go through the next one, just like this. Okay, now in order to position ourselves for the next row, we have to go through this netting seed bead like this. And now we can start with the second row of netting. If you want, you can do it like this, or you can turn it if it's easier and do it from from down to up. We are exiting through one of these 2 seed beads of the netting, so we are going through the next crossover bead, just like this. Now it's time for a crystal, a 15-0, a 4mm bicon, and a 15-0. Here is it. And now another pearl. It's going actually really fast. A 15-0, a 4mm pearl, and a 15-0. It goes really fast if you can put the seed beads into the needle like this. So I'm exiting here. I have to go through the next crossover bead. Watch out for the thread. And now don't forget to step up and move 1 seed bead like this. Let's make another row. I will turn it, maybe I will zoom in a little bit to see better. There you go. Pick up a 15-0, a 4mm pearl, and a 15-0. Exiting, I'm exiting in one of these 2 seed beads from the netting, and I will go through the next crossover bead. Pick up a 15-0, a 4mm bicon, and a 15-0. Exiting here and going through the next crossover bead. Pick up a 15-0, a 4mm pearl, and a 15-0. Exiting this crossover bead, going through the next one. Now you will step up and go through the next seed bead. Be careful so the thread don't tangle like this. As you can see, my thread is almost over. I have to add a new thread. If you don't know how to add a thread, I will post down below a link on a video on how to add thread. Now continue and finish until you reach the end, and I will meet you immediately right there. So we are done with our bracelet. It's very elegant and beautiful, very nice. I think the combination and pearl crystal, it's amazing. The clasp will go like this, very easy. And as I told you, you can use crystals, only crystals. Let me show you. I have a choker here. It's done only with black crystals. You can see the difference. Of course, you can use only pearls or only crystal or mix them like we did today, as you like. So if you like my video, don't forget to like and subscribe. I will appreciate it, and see you next week.